Hello friends. In this video, I'm bringing back some old favorite Christmas DIYs. Remember, any collaborations or giveaways mentioned in this video are old and expired, so just ignore those voiceovers and enjoy the crafts. Be inspired to get up and create something. Let's go. Wood. I believe hers was old fencing. This is an old swing set that a storm blew over and I wouldn't let my husband throw it away. And I've been doing a lot of DIYs with this scrap wood. So we're going to do another one with it today. So I just went out with my miter saw and I cut it to the sizes that I wanted. And now I'm just taking some white chalk paint and just dabbing it with an old chippy brush and different size chippy brushes. Well, one's not a chippy brush, but it's kind of an old worn out brush. And just trying to make it look like it's got a little bit of snow on the rooftops. Let me get those words out for you. And this is like the easiest DIY probably in this video. Super easy, but so cute. Then I just barely dry brushed a little over the rest of it. Just pull it all together and did a little bit on the backs just in case you see the back side. So I will be putting this in my craft booth, and so I will be selling it. Then to glue the pieces together, I like to kind of smear it sometimes when the pieces of wood are a little thin so that it doesn't ooze out the edges too much. Put a little bit of hot glue for that quick hold, the wood glue for the long term, heavier duty hold. Now I'm going to mark it right there so that I don't get glue everywhere, which sometimes I still do, even when I mark it. I'm going to spread it around a little bit with my little silicone spatula that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to put a little hot glue on the top. Wherever I don't have the wood glue, I'm going to stick a little hot glue. Then I'm just going to place those two pieces on top of that longer piece. And I'm just going to paint a little door. I do paint on top a little window on that long piece up there. And then I end up putting a wreath over the top of it and you don't even see it anyway. So you do it how you like it. Whatever you prefer. If you don't want to put a wreath on it, then paint you a window up there. I could have left the wreath off, but I just wanted to add that little pop of color up there to mine. So here I go with the wreath. So I bought this garland at probably Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that when it was on half price. And I've been using this to cut these little pieces off to use for almost like little floral picks or to make little wreaths or just to add embellishments for a couple of years. I'm just going to trim down this little wreath a little bit. Inside, outside, it makes a big mess, but it's worth it because they look so cute. And then I'm just going to stick that up on the top. And it takes quite a bit of glue to actually get that to stick down. Little teeny tiny simple twine bow. And there's your reminder to go hit the thumbs up right now so you don't forget. And then I'm going to put some of those little berries that just, they fell off some of those picks from Dollar Tree. And we're not going to worry about that white foam showing because we're going to just dab a little paint on there and they'll look good as new. But you have to be careful with that hot glue because it will melt that styrofoam. So here I'm just taking some little red paint and just dabbing it on that white part. And voila! Then I'm going to put my wood glue and hot glue on the bottom of this and put it on that solid piece that we cut for our stand. Press it down on there good. And here is the finished product. I'm so in love with this. Now, this next DIY was inspired by Wendy at White Sparrow Living. She inspired by her to do these long, tall churches. I believe hers were made from Dollar Tree signs, and hers seemed to be maybe either a little taller than mine, or she made her rooftops steeper than mine. But this is old. I don't know that this is old. This is scrap wood. My sister-in-law found it on the side of the road, on the curb in her neighborhood, and texted me and said, "Do you want this?" And I said, "Of course I do." And so she got it for me. So thank you, Christy. Shout out to Christy, most awesome sister-in-law in the world. So she got those for me. So you can see I just put a light coat, almost a heavy dry brush of white on 2 and black on 1. And I'm just going to do this simple, tall, skinny door, just like Wendy did. Black on the white and white on the black. The problem with this was that those little grooves in the wood, I don't know if this was some type of planking that someone used for, shiplap or something on their walls, and it was what they had left over. But it's got some grooves in it, so it's a little hard to paint those straight lines. But because I want this to all stay together really good, I did glue the pieces together. I don't even know if I showed that to you. I was too busy talking. I'm going to put some paint stir sticks on the back just to hold it together really good. And then I'm going to take these little garland stems. They almost kind of remind me like garland pipe cleaners. I don't know. Okay, I'm silly. But that's kind of what they remind me of. But I'm going to take 3 of them and make little wreaths out of them. And then this little baker's twine that I got, it looks like it came from Target from that label I'm looking at down there. I got those on after Valentine's Day. I got red and black and maybe pink on clearance for I think I paid 25 cents a spool for them a couple years ago, and I'm still using them. So they also have this at Walmart and sometimes Dollar Tree. So that's what I did with that. Then I had these crosses in my stash. They came from Hobby Lobby. They came a whole lot of them in a package. I had bought them for my Sunday school class to use as a project, and I had some left over. So I'm just going to do 2 black ones, 1 white one, and dry brush them in the opposite color. However much you like, or if you don't want to dry brush them, you want to leave them nice and clean, you can do that too. Okay, here's the 3 metal decor words from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just hot glue them down. I'm using that silicone spatula to keep from burning my fingers, because when that gets hot, it's hot, that metal. Okay, I have these little sawtooth hangers that you just nail in. You don't even have to put a nail in them. They just nail right into the wood, and they work really nice. And so here's my finished product. It's amazing. Okay. So this is all wood I had in my stash. I didn't buy any of this. This was just scrap wood I had. Actually, some of it was left over from some renovations at church. They had a pile of scrap wood, and I asked Pastor, could I take it? And he said, absolutely. Please do. Haul it off. So I'm using my little mini miter saw. You saw me showing how little that blade was. Those don't really fit in there, but I just made it work. So, do that at your own risk. Now I'm going in with this. This is some of that StarCraft paint, chalk paint that I'm not super crazy about. I do love the color, and it's the only paint I have in that color. So I'm using it up. I mean, it's okay, but it's just okay. I won't buy it again. I think I've said that on several videos now, but then I'm using is this Fawn? I believe it's Fawn by Waverly, dry brushing that on there. Now I'm going to use some DIY dark wax, which I absolutely love, and I'm going to use this old piece of a t-shirt. I'm just going to rub it on these little planks that I'm using for the roof, and I'm going to do it on all the sides, because some of it underneath you might be able to see on the overhang. So I'm doing it front, back, sides, and on all the little pieces. It didn't look as good on these paint stir sticks. I almost wish I would have sanded it a little bit, because if I ever recreate something like this again, I will definitely sand them, because they have almost a little bit of a slick coat on it. Okay, now I'm taking Mod Podge. Sorry, I'm saying okay a lot. Taking Mod Podge, I'm giving it a nice healthy coat. Not too thick, but not too thin. And I'm letting it dry completely. It's completely dry now with the magic of editing. And I bought this paper off Amazon and printed out the, what is this called? Sheet music for Oh Holy Night. And when I get done, you can't really tell that the words are really Oh Holy Night too much, but I know it is. So that's what I did. So I'm tracing around my shape, cutting it out with a pair of scissors. Did that for both pieces of that wood. Now I'm going to take my little Cricut mini iron. You can use a regular iron, just don't use steam. Turn the steam off or you're going to ruin your project. This heat reactivates that Mod Podge glue and it works awesome. Then if you have any overhang, you can either take your X-Acto knife and just trim it off, which is really my preference. Unless you want a distressed look, then you can take your sanding block or an emery board and just with a downward motion you can sand that paper off. Now I'm going to do this same technique we use for everything and glue these little planks to the top of this part of the church. These little planks that I have was some scrap trim that I got from that dumpster dive with my mom behind the cabinet shop. I'm going to show footage of that one of these days, so y'all stay tuned. Keep watching because I'm going to get brave enough to show that. Now, for the doorway, I just took this little craft stick, large craft stick, and used it to trace around so that I had a nice symmetrical shape, because I can't draw that shape very symmetrical. If you can, by all means, draw it on there. But I can't, so I used that. Now I'm just going to glue the small one onto the big one. Oh my goodness, look how cute it looks already. Now I'm taking 2 of these greenery pipe cleaners. Oh my gosh, y'all can laugh at me, it's okay. I'll laugh at myself. And some little red twine. And glue that on there. If you can't find the red twine anywhere, they have it on Amazon. I'll link that in the description box below. And it's a big, huge roll. I've been using it. Well, I bought it 4th of July. I used it a lot 4th of July in my patriotic videos. And I've just been using it. Not sure why I was waving that around in the air like I really did care, but I was. So I think this turned out really cute. Okay, here's my next Christmas DIYs. These last 2 were inspired by Sammy. Oh, I didn't show you. Maybe I did. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. These last 2 were both inspired by Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. And she made some ornaments. You saw them in that picture with some spindles. And so my next video is going to be an awesome video made with a bunch of spindles that I've been saving and collecting. So you do not want to miss the next video that I'm going to post. So this was one of them that I had. So I painted it with some black chalk paint. And then I have this gold, I think it's called gilding polish. You can use the DIY gold wax, something that, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but that's what Sammy used on hers, and it was beautiful as well. I think this is just absolutely beautiful. I got this on Amazon. I'm not even sure what the price was. I'm usually pretty frugal in what I buy. I shop for the best price. But if I really want something, I just buy it because I know it's going to last a long time and I'm going to use it sparingly. So I drilled a little hole in the top of this and put a little eyelet screw in there to make a hanger, and then I'm trying to choose what ribbon I want to use, and this is what I decided to do, to use this little gold ribbon to kind of go with that gold wax that I put on there, or polish, and I just made a little loop. Then I'm going to flip that loop down to that. You see what I did? I put it down on the bottom so you can't see it. And then I'm going to glue that little simple bow to, did I glue it already? Yes, I did. Oh, that was quick. I glue it all together so it stays like that. So you can hang it on the tree or whatever. You could put some words on it or spruce it up even a little more. Okay, these were absolutely gorgeous. Y'all, she did these with some spindles, but I have some little teeny tiny spindles. That these were just pieces that I had cut off and left over, and I knew I was going to save them for something. And so I had little tiny bottle brush trees. I didn't have any big bottle brush trees. So I just picked these little spindles, and these are going to be so cute. Wait until you see them in the end. So I just used this red paint. I think this is some of that StarCraft paint as well. I just used it, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I wanted the dark in the crevices. This is the DIY wax, so bear with me here. I tried to put dark in the crevices, and then I wanted white on the rounded parts, so it looked dark and then light. But with the DIY wax, it really makes the color of your paint lighter. It doesn't just add accents. So I tried a little bit of that first, and I didn't really like how it looked, so I ended up dry brushing. And because I didn't want this video to be an hour long, I cut a lot of that out. But I did show you this. Like, see how I tried to do that, and it almost turned it pink. And then I tried some clear wax to lighten it up, and I didn't like how it looked if I just left it, because I thought, well, I'll just leave it on there. I didn't really like that either. I don't think I showed you the clear wax. I think that's the part I edited out. I kept thinking if I wiped it. No, here's the clear wax. I put the clear wax on, thinking I can... Yeah, so anyway, I ended up just getting a little fan brush and doing just a little dry brushing on there. I ended up loving the way that looked. That was the look I was going for in the first place. But you have to try different things to know what's, if you like it or not, what it's going to look like. You don't know unless you try. So, drilled little holes in there and stuck those little trees in there. And I think these are so cute. They would be cute on a tier tray or just as a little extra added accent. Welcome to Late Night Creations. My name is Kendra, and I'm so glad you're here. Today I have a video for you making some rustic reindeer with some scrap wood and some of those spindles that I got for free. So let's get started. This first reindeer DIY is very rustic. This is some of that old swing set that got blown over a long time ago. I've been doing a lot of DIYs with it, a lot of projects. So I sanded it down a little bit. I took some of my DIY dark wax, and I didn't give it a good solid coat. I just streaked it. I just put some streaks on it. And then I took the clear wax and sealed it up good with the clear wax. And then I had these little wood rounds in my stash. Someone donated them to me after a wedding, and I just going to do one of them red and one of them in truffle by Waverly. So I have a Rudolph nose and his girlfriend. Now I'm going to give them some eyes, and I'm just going to use this sponge dabber from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make some big black dots for the eyes. Then I'm going to, while that's drying, I'm going to take these branches I got out of my yard. You can see right there that I glued some extra little pieces on right there and up here because it had been raining like crazy and I couldn't get good branches off my little bush out there. And so I just got what I could and pieced it together, and you can't even tell, and it's very sturdy, and I just used hot glue. Now I'm going to put those up there like some little antlers and some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree. And it kind of looks like he has a unibrow. I've laughed and laughed about that. But Rudolph's got a little bit of, what do reindeer have? Well, okay, reindeer. What do deer have by their antlers? I guess it's fur, hair, whatever. Okay, then Rudolph's girlfriend is going to get a bow. She's going to get this cute little red and black checked bow from this ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree. Now we're going to put some white in their eyes, make them have some little personality. Now Rudolph is going to be, he's going to be looking that way, whichever way that is going to be looking. No, this is Rudolph's girlfriend. I'm so sorry. I didn't show on camera that I put those little white, little extra accents on their noses. So I have them looking at each other, in other words. Their little googly eyes. I'm going to actually put some white in there too once it dries good. Now I'm using some wood glue and some hot glue to attach this to a piece of one of those spindles. You're going to see those spindles later on in this video. This is the straight edge end of the spindle that I just cut off and had an extra piece of it, and so I thought it would be cute to make a little stand and put a little Spanish moss down at the bottom, and look at them looking at each other. I think this is so adorable and rustic and cute. Okay, here's our next reindeer DIY. It's those spindles I've been talking about. Went and got 177 of them for free off of a pallet that some people had. And so this is those long ends of them. They were like banister spindles or spindles. They had purchased them at an auction. The father had purchased them at an auction to build a railing around the deck, and unfortunately he passed away before he got the railing built, and so the kids had inherited it and they were just getting rid of them. So I was fortunate enough to, I drove an hour to go get them, but it was an amazing find. And then this was a branch that I had cut off of one of my little bushes. I don't really have trees in my yard. I have this bush similar to a crepe myrtle, but it's huge and not pretty like a crepe myrtle. And I keep cutting it down. It keeps just growing back and growing back. So anyway, this is a branch off of it, and I just took it out to my miter saw and chopped off a bunch of little pieces. You can get some little pieces like this at Hobby Lobby or on the hobby stores and use them. Or Dollar Tree has some that are a little bit thicker, and you might be able to use those if you wanted to recreate something like this. And so now I'm just going to take a smaller dauber and dauber. I keep saying that and it doesn't sound right. And I'm just going to make some little black eyeballs. I'm going to glue all their little noses down. Don't we wish we could really work that fast in real life? Then I'm going to take my little white paint pen, and there I'm going to make those little accents on the nose just to give it a little extra character and personality. And then I'm going to take the end of this little sponge paint dauber. I'm calling it a dauber. Y'all correct me if you think that sounds weird. Dabber sounds weird to me. Okay, anyway, and I'm using the, I used the wooden stick. You could use a dowel stick. You could use whatever just to make some little round dots. And then I did my black paint pen. Now I picked this, I don't know, it's not greenery. I picked this stuff up at Dollar Tree last year, maybe year before. I've had it in my stash for a long time and never really had a project I thought that it really looked good in, because to me it looked a little plastic and cheapy. But guess what? It is perfect for these reindeer antlers. And like I said, it had been raining like crazy and my yard was just wet and mushy, and I didn't really want to traipse out and try to find twigs. So that's what I did. Now I have this raffia. I'm going to create a little, it's not really a bow. I guess it is a bow. I'm just going to cut off a few pieces, and I'm going to flip it over, cut it in half, flip it over, cut it in half until I get it the length that I want. I'm just going to tie a piece in the middle to hold it all together, and it kind of creates a bow. I guess it looks like a bow. And then I just pull it apart, trim it up how I like it, and then glue it right in between the antlers. I did some of them like this. Some of them I added a little twine bow to. Some I just did a twine bow on. And here is Rudolph and his 8 reindeer. I think they turned out super cute. I hope you're enjoying these DIYs.
My name is Kendra and you're watching Late Night Creations. We're really glad that you're watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button, the thumbs up, leave a comment below. Let me know if you saw these DIYs the first time around or if this is your first time seeing them. Also, when you refer to the DIYs, please be sure to mention them specifically because I don't remember what all is in this video. Let's get back to creating.
Okay, this first DIY is so fun. I just drew a little triangle Christmas shape, and I'm going to use this scrap wood that my mom and I dug out of a dumpster behind a cabinet shop. I'm going to have to show that video one of these days. My husband videotaped us, but I'm just showing you that I don't care if the shape is perfectly square or the sides are even, because I love all the character that this piece of wood had. So I taped down my drawing onto my wood, and now I'm going to nail nails, not on camera because you see how it shakes my table and it makes my camera shake, but I'm just going to show you how I did this. So I thought that I was going to be smart and just eyeball how far apart I should put my little dots, where I should put my nails, but then I thought maybe I should use a ruler, and I did the first two pretty good, 1/2 inch apart, and that wasn't quite exactly 1/2 inch there, but it's not going to matter in the end. So I'm going to hammer all these in. These are 1-inch nails, and I'm going to hammer them all in the same, where they're the same length. Now, part of this wood is super hard. This is really good quality wood. It was from a cabinet shop, and so this little part, I think where that knot was, is really hard, and so when I tried to hammer those nails in, they bent a little bit, and this one just popped right off. So I'm going to leave those two little crooked ones in there. I tried to straighten them up with my pliers, and I couldn't get that little scrap piece out, so I just nailed a little nail right next to it, and you're not even going to be able to tell. So then you're just going to pull your paper off and leave it with your design with the nails. Now I'm going to use this thin cotton yarn from Dollar Tree. You can use embroidery floss, you can use some any kind of thin yarn, you can use some fatter yarn, but it's a little more difficult. So the trick to this, you're going to tie a knot. Did you see me tie that knot? Okay. So the trick to this is keeping it taut, to not let go and don't let loose. So I thought I was going to be able to do this just with my fingers. I was going to try my tweezers. I tried using the other end of my tweezers, and then I stopped and I got, well, I'm not even showing you what I got, but anyway, I did the same thing. Oh, there's my little skewer that I got with the pointy end. It works fantastic. So you're just wrapping it around each one of those, and I'm keeping it down close to the wood because this is the first outline. There's so many different ways that you can do this. This is such a fun thing to do. So I did it, so I got it all the way around the outside. So now I'm going to go back and forth, just in a zigzag fashion until I get to the very bottom. And then I'm going to go zigzag the opposite way all the way back to the top. You can do this however you want to. You can go from the top to the bottom, sideways. Sometimes I will fill the whole thing in, just back and forth all over it. But that was not the look I was going for this time. Okay, so now we're going to outline it, and we're going to keep the thread up close to the top of the head of the nail. So it's going to look like it's outlined at the bottom and it's outlined at the top. Now, oh no, I'm going back up. Sorry. I'm ahead of myself. I've already told you what I was doing, so I thought I was ahead of myself. Okay, so, oh, see, I let go. I didn't keep it taut, and I lost my footing, or my yarn, whatever. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Now we're moving. It's just the same thing. Let's see if this is where, oh, I'm going back down. I wanted it to be a little thicker. And like I said, you could go and make different designs. This is just what I wanted to do. Okay, here's where I'm going back around to make the outline at the top. It just kind of finishes it off a little bit. Just going. Okay, you will notice that when I'm doing the outline is I I wrap it around the nails. When I was going back and forth, I wasn't wrapping it completely around the nails. I just looped it around, if that makes sense. I think you could see what I'm doing. But whatever, you know, your design asks you to do. So here I'm just going to tie a little knot around that last nail, and I'm kind of use my little skewer or my tweezers sometimes to help me with that. Now where I cut it off, it left a little frayed edge, and I was afraid that would come undone. So I just dab a little bit of super glue on the edges of that little frayed ribbon. Now I'm just using some cotton twine. I'm pretty sure I picked this up at Walmart years ago, and I've been using it forever. And I did the base of the tree with that cotton twine, just whatever design you want to do. And then I have this in my stash. This I got at got them off Amazon. There was like 500 of these little stars in that package, and so I decided to glue that little star on top. I think this turned out adorable. I absolutely love doing string art. It's so easy once you get the hang of it, so you need to try it. And if you try any projects that you get inspired by something that I do, please email me pictures. I love to see what you're creating. Now I just took a branch off of a bushy tree we have in our yard, and I sliced them with my miter saw and tried to make them all about the same width. Now I'm just taking some moss green paint by Waverly, and I'm painting the frame of this little shadow box-ish thing I got at Dollar Tree back when they were selling all the nautical stuff. They may still have these, I don't know. Now I'm going to put these in the shape of a tree, but I didn't like that there wasn't enough contrast, so I'm going to take some DIY dark wax. You could use some watered down paint, you could use some antique wax by Waverly, or just take a paint and water it down just a wee bit and just wipe it on and wipe it off. Now where they had glued the frame together, it didn't stain very well, but that's okay. I don't mind. It makes it look more rustic. So I'm just going to kind of place these and see where I want them, and I wanted that top one to be kind of oblong up and down. And then I'm going to take a twig, and I think I may have gotten this pack of twigs. I finally found some at Dollar Tree. My Dollar Tree never had any. I found them at another Dollar Tree somewhere else. I'm not showing you that part yet. Yeah, my glue was, I keep it stored upside down so that it's not so hard to get this thick wood glue to come out. And this super glue wood glue is amazing. It really is a good hold. But I'm going to do a little bit of hot glue on there just so it'll hold quickly, and I don't have to wait for it to dry and they don't move around. So just so long as the hot glue and the wood glue don't touch, then we're good to go. And so very quickly I'm going to get these all glued down, and I'm in love with the look of this tree, guys. I just love it. Anyway, so yeah, and don't mind if you see little gnats and bugs flying around, because I live in the country and my craft cottage is outside my gate, and they just come in with the lights in the evening. So that little twig I glued down, and then now I'm going to put some of this thicker twine. I'm pretty sure I got this at Walmart. And I'm going to tie a knot on the front because I like that look. I think it looks rustic. And just make the knot big enough. If you have to double knot it, then do that, but make it big enough so it doesn't pull through. And then just snip that off. And you could put a little drop, whatever, of super glue in there too if you didn't want that to fray and unravel, but I felt like it was in there pretty good. Okay, there's the hanger. Then I decided it needed a little twine bow on top. The tree needed a topper. So I just put that little twine bow up there on the top. And oh my gosh, this was so simple, so easy, so cheap. Really the only thing I had to pay for was the frame. Everything else was just scraps or in my yard. So let me know what you think about that one. Okay. This next one also, I had gotten a pack of 4 of these at Hobby Lobby. I don't remember how much they were, but I I do remember that they came out to be about a little over $1 a piece, and this was like maybe the second or to the smallest size. I can't remember. So I was going to put some paint on it that's about the same color as it was, just because, I don't know, I felt like it would look more finished. And so I gave it just a thin coat. I wasn't even looking for like some coverage, because it's very close to the same color. And so that's what I did. I did it front, back, on the inside. To me, it just made it, I could have left it, but it just made it look a little bit more finished, even though it's going to be a very rustic DIY. Then I took some antique wax and just kind of dry brushed the edges, because, it was a little too clean. And then I put a few streaks in the center. Then I took my little scrap of t-shirt fabric. Any kind of soft fabric would work. Paper towels don't work very good because they kind of fall apart. And then I took a little clear wax from DIY and sealed it. And in the end, I don't know if I got it on camera. I think I might have not gotten on camera that I also, in the very end, I used a little bit of dark wax on the frame. I'm not sure if I show that or not, but anyway, so I tried several different things to cut these twigs. These were still kind of green, and so they were a little harder to cut. But the miter shears, which usually are very hard for me to cut with, worked the best of everything that I had. So I just laid them out and just kept cutting each one just a wee bit shorter and a wee bit shorter and a wee bit shorter until I had a Christmas tree shape. This was actually really fun. Really enjoyed making this. And so then I took another one of those little round wood discs and a little tiny pine cone. So I'm just going to glue everything down using the wood glue and the hot glue again. Use them together, but don't overlap them, because the hot glue just acts weird when it touches the wood glue or the whatever liquid glue. So I'm not sure if I'm going to show you every single bit of this or not. I can't remember. But this is so super easy. And guys, if you don't have trees or whatever, just go to the park. And I had to kind of snip those little, where the leaves were. There were some leaves on there that I had pulled off. Okay, so if you don't have a tree in your yard or a bush or something that you can do this, just go to the park and pick up sticks in the park. If you have kids, that would be a great thing for them to do, help you do, is find sticks. It would be a nice little adventure. And then they would feel like they had a part in your DIY. And this actually would be a good DIY craft for kids too. They would have fun doing this. And you could just do it on a piece of scrap wood, let them paint it, and they could have a little decoration for their bedroom. And kids love that. They love to make things for their room. So here I am showing you the dark wax. So I just put it a little bit on my t-shirt and then just, put it on there a little bit. Okay, so I had this little block of wood in my stash that I had cut off of some spindles that I'm going to do a project with in a couple weeks. And it was just a piece of scrap, and I wanted this to stand up. You don't have to make yours stand up if you don't want to. You could totally put a hanger on it, but I wanted this to stand up, and so I put some glue on this little block of wood. I painted it the same color as the frame, and so you can see that. And then I decided it needed a twine bow. I couldn't decide where to put it. That was kind of just awkward sitting up there by itself, so I just wrapped some twine around the top. I wasn't really thinking this was going to look that great. And I was like, well, it needs something up there, so this is what I'm going to do. So and here I go picking and poking again. I do edit a lot of my picking and poking out for and save you guys from having to watch me do that. So I did make a smaller bow than that original one that I showed you. And voila. Oh, I'm in love with it. I think it is so cute. It's so rustic. I love it. Okay, here's the last one. Maybe my favorite. Oh, this is not the last one. There's another one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, this might be my favorite. I don't know. I can't pick a favorite of these. I loved them all. They were so very fun. Okay, this little round piece is some of those that Dollar Tree has. Now, my Dollar Tree didn't have them forever, and I'm not even sure if I got this at my Dollar Tree, or I've been visiting a lot of other Dollar Trees. Anytime we go on a trip or we go out of town, we see a Dollar Tree, we stop, because I'm looking for things that my Dollar Tree doesn't carry. So I just drilled a little hole in the little base, and now I'm drilling a little hole in each one of these sticks, and I cut them with the same theory as I did that last project. Now this is some dead dry branches that I had cut off, and well, they were dead ones. They were dead branches on the tree. That's not, it's like almost like a crepe myrtle, but not. I'll stick a little glue in this. I drilled a hole in that too, and I'm just going to stick a little glue in there so it'll stay. That's going to be our top. I had seen this. My inspiration was a 6-foot tree like this made out of driftwood. Oh my goodness, it is so gorgeous. But it was 6 foot tall, so I'm making a mini version with just twigs out of my yard, and oh my gosh, y'all, this turns out so cute. So you can make this, just go pick up some sticks, and if you have a drill some holes, or you might be able to even just use a nail, a big nail, and drill, hammer a nail through, and then just maybe use some yarn or something to put through there. And yeah, I don't know how you would make it stick in the, I have to think about that one for a minute. But everybody needs a drill. Everybody needs a drill. So there you go. How easy was that, and how simple was that, and how cute is that? Come on, guys, leave a comment. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about these. Okay, this really is the last one. Okay, same as the first one. Same concept, but I'm using this little wood round. Now, I bought some of these on Amazon, but this was some that a friend used for decor at a shower, and she was going to throw them away. Can you believe that? That is just craziness. So I said, do not throw those away. I will absolutely use those. So I'm going to make a little ornament out of this. So I'm not going to hammer them because you see, I'm going to hammer my fingers. So I'm going to use my little needle nose pliers, and I'm going to hammer them in off camera because see how it shakes my table. So I'm going to hammer in. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't go all the way through my wood, and then just do the design. Now I'm keeping the design over there to my left, so in case I forget, what it looks like, because the nails sometimes when you get them on there can be kind of confusing. So I'm going to start at the top, and it's very similar to the last one, just a different design. So you can fast forward through this part if you already know how to do StringArt, but this one was a little bit more challenging. I had to kind of think about what I was doing when I was doing it. So I just wrapped it. I'm not even going to try to explain this because it kept falling off. I kept losing my string because I wasn't keeping it tight enough. But so it's just a different design. So I'm wrapping it around and around, and just you have to kind of figure out, where you want your strings to show and how you're going to get back up to the top or the bottom, or how am I going to get where I'm going and make it look. And sometimes I have to undo and redo, and it's hard to keep it tight. See, there, I lost it again. Keep it tight while you're trying to figure it all out. And so that's where that little stick comes in handy, because you can kind of hold it down and help guide it along. You might be able to do it with just your fingers, but I can't. My fingers are just too fat, and I do have a little arthritis in a couple of my fingers joints, and so they don't bend as good as they used to. So there we go. So there's the tree part. So this is where I'm going to tie the knot at the top. Just leave a little loop to pull it through, get my little tweezers, pull that string through there, tighten the knot. I think I double knotted it. I just didn't show that. I'm going to do that super glue thing again. If you let that super glue sit on there for just a few seconds, it'll get soft, and then you can just slick it down on there. Okay, and then I used a different color to do the base, and I just did a square and then an X across. Just do it however you like, whatever design you want to do. And you can find all kinds of these designs on if you Google it. Okay, I drilled a hole and I've got a little, what are those called? Eye hooks. And it's not really a hook, it's a solid top to make an ornament. Okay, here's the reveal of all of the projects from today. So let me know which one's your favorite, which one you would like to try to recreate, or if you're inspired to create something totally different, but this inspired you, and please email me pictures if you create something. For this first DIY, I took these wooden beads and I filled the holes with some spackling. I put a little dowel rod in there to take up most of the room, then I put some spackling in there and I sanded it down. I'm going to use these for the heads of my Mary and Joseph, and I used a smaller one for baby Jesus. And we're going to make a manger scene in one of those Dollar Tree shadow box houses. Now, I'm using this warm buff by, I believe it's Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to swirl them around in there to get the paint on there, and then take a paintbrush to kind of smooth it out, if you will. Then I'm going to take these Jingle blocks and tumbling tower blocks, the tumbling tower blocks that you get at Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it white, all the sides, and I just used I cut it down a little bit. I cut these all to size. You do it however you want to. The Jingle blocks I bought at Five Below. I believe I got them at Five Below. I can't remember. And I cut Mary a little bit shorter just because, I don't know. I think women are normally shorter than men. Not always. Not even typically anymore. I don't know. It just, in all of the scenes, it always depicts Mary a little bit shorter than Joseph. I used my little 2-inch mini miter saw that you see me use sometimes. You can use whatever you have at home to cut those down. And then I had this little star in my stash. I got a huge pack of them at Hobby Lobby years ago, and I've just been using them for projects for years. And so I'm going to use this little star and paint it yellow and put a little bit of gold on top of it. I didn't want it too shiny, but a little bit of shimmer is good. Now I have this wood grain look scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm just measuring the inside of this shadow box, and I'm going to make this my background. So I'm just cutting it to fit, and then we're going to glue it in after I paint the outside of the shadow box a little bit. I'm using the DIY wax, dark wax. Absolutely love this stuff. You can see that I've used quite a bit of it out of that little jar, and it goes a long way. So I've used a lot of it. I use it on a lot of projects. So I'm just kind of painting it on there. And then at the end, after I get it all painted on there, I do take a soft old white t-shirt. You see me use those a lot in my videos. And I just wipe off the excess. Most of it's soaked into this wood because it's pretty porous. But I just wiped it off so there wasn't any excess. Like it's a wax, wipe on, wipe off. I did the inside, the outside, the edges, everything so it looks like an old barn stable, which actually I've been to Bethlehem and I've seen the type of animal dwelling that Jesus was born in. Not the exact one because they don't know for sure where exactly it was or if it's even still there. But I saw one that was like it, and it's not a barn at all. It's an underground, semi-underground cave type dwelling, which was amazing. Then I took a little bit of that dark wax and just kind of dirtied up Mary and Joseph's clothes because I think their clothes would have been kind of old and tattered. I don't know why I think that, but I just like to use that dark wax, honestly. And so I'm just taking a little bit of that canvas drop cloth that I use all the time and giving baby Jesus some swaddling clothes or some swaddling cloths. I guess they weren't really clothes, it was just swaddling cloths. I'm going to glue that tiny little bead on his head, on there for his head. Then I'm going to glue Mary to Joseph just to keep them from sliding around. Giving it some security with that wood glue and the hot glue. Glue them together, and then I'm going to give Mary a head and Joseph a head. Just glue them right on top. It's kind of primitive and cute. I don't think I show me doing Joseph's head because it's kind of redundant. Then I took a little square of burlap And I'm going to glue it, wrap it around them, and I'm just going to cut that bottom piece off. I'm going to glue baby Jesus in their arms. How cute is that? Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to glue them in the stable, in the barn, in the house, whatever you want to call it. I've done a similar craft with my Sunday school class without the barn, and they absolutely love it, and I plan to do something similar with them again this year. Then I thought it looked a little plain, so I just glued a little Spanish moss in there to pull it all together. This is going to go on the tier tray, and it's going to be a little garland. You know I love garlands and banners. It's actually a little garland banner. You know, it's miniature for our tier tray. So I'm just putting that, I believe it's that warm buff again. I'm just going to give it a little light coat, and then I'm going to take, I did it in warm buff, and then I'm taking, I think it's desert sand, and kind of distressing it a little bit, making it look that, you know, like it's got some texture to it. Then I took that chocolate sprinkle and just distressed around the edges. I mean, do whatever colors you like. I just used 3 colors of brown, 3 different colors of brown to make it look, you know, like it's just some old worn pieces of wood. And I think that they turned out pretty cute. And then I'm going to make some stencils on my Cricut. You could use stickers for this, whatever you want to use. I did the Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men, because that's what the angels said to the shepherds in the fields as they were watching their sheep by night. And so I'm just going to show you one of each, not to make this video forever long. So put the stencil on, and I'm going to show you how I use Mod Podge to kind of seal that so we don't have any leakage. I just put a thin coat of Mod Podge all over that area, being sure I get it all over the edges so none of that paint, when I put it on, will seep under the edges of the stencil. You can do this with regular stencils as well. This works really good. I also use these little, I don't know where I got these little mini ones. They came in a pack, a variety pack, I think. And I just cut that pointy tip off to make a pouncer. And I'm just pouncing. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing because I'm going up and down, straight up and down, not sideways. I'm just doing the angel for you. And I'm using white chalk paint. And I'm just pouncing up and down, up and down, up and down until I get the entire thing filled. And then I'll look at it and make sure I didn't miss any spots. And then just peel away that stencil, and there was that tiny little piece between her halo and her head. Just took my tweezers and peeled that away. Now I'm going to just put a little color on these beads. So I sprayed a little water on them, and then I'm going to use this Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm just putting enough in there to get it the color that I, you know, as much coverage as I want. And just stir them up, stir them up. Then I'm going to take them out and wipe off the excess. And if it's not as dark as I want it, then I just put them back in there or put a little more stain in there, or the wax in there, I'm sorry. It makes it look like stain, so I'm saying stain. So I'm just going to take them out, and then I just laid them on a piece of that drop cloth to dry. Now I'm going to take some of this thinner twine that you get in the automotive department at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a little hanger for these tags, because if I hang them straight on the little banner, they're going to hang crooked. So I'm going to make these little, you know, hangers for the tags. And I'm going to just, now for this, with this thicker twine that I also got at Dollar Tree, I'm going to cut however much I want, however long I want my banner to be, and then I'm going to tie each one of these on there. But in between, I'm going to put my beads. So I'm going to tie a tag on there, and then I'm going to put a couple beads, and then tie a tag and put a couple beads. And I'm going to use some painter's tape on the end of that thicker twine to get it to go through those beads nice and smoothly. So I just leave it on there the whole time. And then I decided I wanted to use a little bit of that drop cloth and cut some little thin strips and make some little strips to hang down. But you'll see in the end that I didn't like the way that that looked. It didn't hang right. It was too thick. It was too long. I don't know. I just didn't like the way it looked. So you'll see that I changed that up. So I'm not going to show you this whole process, but you just get the hang of it, and you know, you're just going to make it your own anyway. So this is just for inspiration. So you can see I didn't like that, so I just decided to tie it in little knots, and I thought that was much cuter on this little tier tray because we want it to be small and, you know, not all taking up the whole space. So I did one on each end, and then I tied a knot on the end of that. Okay, I'll show you, I'll reveal that on the tier tray in the end. Now, I took these little bottle brushes that come several in a package. I think there's like 5 or 6 in a package at Dollar Tree. And then I think all of this is Dollar Tree stuff. I got those little wood stumps at Dollar Tree, these beads. No, I got these beads on Amazon. I'm telling you a story. But they come a whole lot in a package. Most of the things that I get on Amazon, I will have linked in the description box, and you can go check them out and see if you want to get those. So I'm just dry brushing these with just a little bit of those same colors I've been using. I think it's Warm Buff and Desert Sand. And then I'm just going to glue. I thought I was going to use some wood glue and hot glue, but there wasn't enough space to do both of them, and I ended up doubling it over, and then, you know, it doesn't stick at all. The hot glue and the wood glue, if you overlap them, it's like oil and water. They don't work. So I think that the wood glue will hold this. I mean, the hot glue, excuse me. I think the hot glue will hold this just fine. I said wood glue because I'm wondering why I didn't move that wood glue out of my way. It's just hanging out there. Then I'm just going to put a little hot glue on that stem, and I think this is just the cutest little addition to a tier tray, this tiny little tree. And, you know, these little bottle brush trees are all the rage this year, especially stuck on some spindles or, you know, on a tree stump or a wood block. I've been seeing a lot of that this year, and I think that they just look great. I think this is so cute. Look how cute they look. And I think they just look cute in pairs as well. Now for the next DIY. This is so simple. Just a scrap block of wood that I had. I've had this in my stash for years. I had cut a bunch of them this size for a craft at Camp Gigi probably 3 years ago. And I've just had them in my stash. Been using them up. So here we go with this. I think this is the Desert Sand. I'm going to dry brush it. Not a whole lot. I don't want a whole lot on there, just around the edges, just to, you know, not make it so stark white. And then I did take my sanding block, probably in the 120 grit, and I don't know if I show you that on camera or not, but I just I'm going to say dirty up the white a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I sanded a little around the edges, and if you get a little too much of your distressing, that's a good way to remove some of it. I didn't get on camera showing you how I wrapped the twine around and put the bow on. I did not show you how I put the decal on. I guess I thought I hit record and I didn't, but you could use stickers, you could handwrite it. I think this is really good that the wise men still seek him, meaning we still seek Jesus. And there's that little banner on the tier tray. Okay, here's the last one. Last but not least, I found this little book stack at thrift store, I believe, or Goodwill. And it is definitely from the 90s. These are the colors that we all had in the 90s, if you're old enough. And so I just took them apart, and that tape was so sticky on there, I couldn't even get it off. So I just took them outside, and it was late at night, so I couldn't record out there at night. And I took them out on my craft cottage porch and sanded them with my orbital sander. It took me a few seconds. And now I'm using the Fawn by Waverly. I love this color. I love the coverage it gets. And I'm giving every inch of these little books a good coat of this. Good solid coat. And then I'm going to take my white chalk paint. I use Rust-Oleum's white linen. I love it. I buy it off Amazon in the quart size, and then I just put it in this little jar so it doesn't dry out as fast. And then I showed you that I'm leaving the page part in that color, and then I'm taking my chocolate sprinkle and going to wherever the book would be worn, I'm going to just darken it up a little bit, and I'm going to put it on the pages part a little bit too. So that's what they look like. Then I'm just going to take a Sharpie. I was going to use my paint marker, but you can see where I'm writing the letters, it was too fat, it was too thick. So I'm just going to handwrite Peace on Earth on this little book stack. Don't always have to use your Cricut. Don't always have to use stickers. Just take your time. This is in doubled up speed. I took my time and I just wrote Peace on Earth. Here's some more of that canvas drop cloth. I'm telling you, I use it all the time. It's such a good buy. Go ahead and spend the $20 or whatever it is. You get a big, huge sheet of it, and you can just use it and use it and use it. I'm going to hot glue these books together so they don't go anywhere. And it's really lightweight pine. It smelled like pine when I was sanding it. And then I'm just going to tie that, not even in a double knot because I don't want it to be super bulky right there. So I'm just going to hot glue it down. This canvas drop cloth is so nice to work with too. I'm going to take two little scraps that I pulled off of something else, probably came from Dollar Tree. Glue a couple little pine cones that I got, these little packs of pine cones at Dollar Tree. These little red berries came off of some picks I got at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to stick a couple little ones, just, cutting a couple little ones off, gluing them where the white styrofoam doesn't show. And there you go. It's all done. I think it's so cute. I love it. So here's the finished tiered tray. Let me know if you have a favorite piece. Okay, let's get crafting. Okay, I have this branch that came out of my yard, a tree bush thingy that I have in my yard. And I'm just going to sand off the loose bark and just get it, presentable. And I have some white chalk paint. I'm going to put one raw coat on here. Now, I'm not looking for complete coverage. And then I'm going to take the Fawn by Waverly and dry brush it with just an old chippy brush. And, the more beat up it is, the better. And then I have Chocolate Sprinkle by Apple Barrel maybe. And I'm going to do a little dry brush with that as well. And then I cut out some decals on my Cricut that say Joy to the World. And I'm going to put these on each little block. These little 1x4s I had in my stash. They were left over from some project that we did. And I just thought this was going to be so cute. So the theme of this video is Joy to the World. In this collab, we all picked a song, and our crafts, our creations are going to rotate or revolve around that song. So mine is Joy to the World. So I'm using the DIY clear wax, and I'm going to give everything a good coat of the clear wax. I'm going to use some twine to tie on to my branch and make a little hanger. One thing that I do like to do, I don't think I get it on camera, but a little tip is I like to put a little drop of super glue in those twine knots to keep them from coming loose. Now I am just wrapping this twine around the blocks on each side. You can just see what I'm doing. I am putting a little drop of hot glue in these in the top instead of the super glue because I want it to hold really quickly. So I'm just putting a little line of hot glue across the back, and then as I wrap, I'm making sure that that twine lays in that glue. And now I'm making sure that I'm not covering up my words. That's what I'm looking at right here. Now, I'm going to put another little drop of glue and tie it up. Now, when you go to hang these on the branch, I'm just going to hang them, make them all even. You might want to hang your branch on the wall because the branch doesn't hang evenly like it's laying down. So I had to undo and redo this, but I ended up hanging it on the wall, and then so that they all came out straight. And, it worked out better hanging it on the wall and tying them on while it was hanging on the wall. Spit it out, Kendra. So there it is, all finished. I love how it turned out. Very rustic and very beautiful. Okay, the next Joy to the World DIY. So I'm using this super glue, wood glue from Dollar Tree, and these two little wood rounds that I ordered off of Amazon. And I'm gluing two of them together and clamping them down, and then I'm going to drill some holes in so that I have a way to hang them. Now I'm going to use some Mod Podge, some paint markers, and some printables, free printables off of the internet. that I just Googled free printables, free music lyrics, free maps, and I just printed them off on my printer. I ended up only using the sheet music for these DIYs. Now I'm going to use Mod Podge, the iron-on method, so I'm going to give a good coat of Mod Podge all over all of these rounds, and then I'm going to let it dry completely. And then I'm just going to trace around my blank. I'm going to cut it out, and then I am going to iron it on. Now I'm going to line up my words with my holes so that it's going to hang straight. I'm going to use my parchment paper and my little heat press, my little mini heat press, but you can use any kind of iron as long as there's no steam, and voila, no wrinkles, beautiful press every single time. I'm just going to use this little sanding sponge. You can use a nail file and just with a downward motion get rid of all that excess paper. You can see over on my little papers on the side how much I practiced writing, making sure that the ink was, or the paint was all coming down properly, and just in my own handwriting I just wrote the words joy on here. So you don't need to Cricut for this particular one. And then I'm just going to put this twine, this red twine I got on Amazon, as a hanger, and then just going to make a little red twine bow. On the green one I did the same thing, only with some green twine. So these are very simple, very minimal, and I think they turned out really cute. Let me know what you think. You could put these on a tier tray, you could hang them on your tree, you could put them in a garland, you could put them on a wreath. There's, very versatile. Now the next one is those same rounds that I did, and I used the music lyrics, the music sheet that was a little bit different. I had printed it on different paper, and then I just used some Truffle by Waverly and did a little dry brushing to make it look a little more worn. And I'm just going to make a twine hanger at the top, and I'm going to use just some little bits and pieces of extra things that I never throw away. I have a little baggies here and there of all kinds of little bits and pieces of greenery and florals and such, because you're always going to need something for a small little project just like this one. So I had this little piece of greenery. I'm going to glue it down. I'm going to glue some little berries and some twine, and I'm not sure what all I'm going to glue on this. I did them all a little differently. I did one with just some twine. I did one with some little pine cones, and I think they turned out super cute. This is a really easy twine bow. I don't know if you can really see it if I've sped it up so much, but just wrap it around your fingers, and the last time pull it up through a loop and tighten it real tight. Make sure it's right in the middle, and it's just an easy, really just little loopy bow. Really easy bow to make. So I'm going to just glue that down. It would be cute just to leave it like that. I'm going to glue a few little berries in. There were a couple places where the paint had chipped off, and there were some white spots, so I just made sure that I glued those white spots where you couldn't see them. I have had some where when once I glued them on, I chipped some of the white off, or they were so bad that I couldn't hide it, so I just took some red paint and dabbed it on and fixed it like that. So here they are all finished. I have them in a garland on my piano, and I think that they look really pretty. On to our next DIY. This little framed sheet music decor piece turned out really pretty. I am going to take some ink by Waverly, Waverly, and I'm going to paint just this top little piece right here, the sides and the back of this little frame that I got at Dollar Tree. And I took the hanger off. You saw me take the hanger off, and I thought I was going to replace the hanger, but you are going to see shortly why I did not get to replace that hanger. But anyway, I do the top all the way around, I do the sides, and I do the back. And then I'm going to cover that inside little part of this tray frame with Mod Podge and use that same method that I've been using with the iron and the Mod Podge. It fit pretty good as the width. I put it in, pressed it down with my fingers. I'm going to use my paper cutter to cut it because I don't cut very straight with the scissors, and I want this to be straight, so I cut it. So I'm putting a good healthy coat of Mod Podge in here. We want to get a good healthy coat, but smooth it. You don't want to have lumps and bumps when you're using the iron-on method. And then put it aside, let it dry while I made a bow for something else, or start another project, put another coat of paint somewhere. And then once it's completely dry, we'll take our non-steam iron or heat press and just press it down. I am not real sure that I had to have this parchment paper on here because the scrapbook paper is pretty thick. You see, I keep wanting not to use it, but I was afraid that I might burn my paper, and I did not want to ruin my project. So I just kept using the parchment paper, and it works like a charm. If you haven't tried this method, I highly recommend it. There are no wrinkles, no bumps, no lumps. It is just beautiful, very professional. Okay, so here is some little ribbon. I got this on Amazon a couple years ago for Camp Gigi. We had a musical theme, and we used this ribbon. Do you see those little holes right there? That was supposed to be the top of this decor piece where the hanger goes. So, well, guess what? I'm going to use this. I'm trying to place those musical notes over the holes as best I can to hide that. And we're just going to have a cute little decor piece of that ribbon on the bottom. We fixed that little boo-boo. Okay, so I made a bow out of this beautiful black ribbon I got. It's been in my stash, but I remember that I got it after Christmas on clearance at Hobby Lobby probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I've just been using it and using it because, it doesn't take a whole lot. You just use a little to make a bow here and there, and it lasts forever. So here it is. Put a hanger on the back, and it is done. I think it turned out just beautiful. Okay, while I create this next DIY, which is very self-explanatory, you watch how I make it, and I am going to ask the question that you need to answer in the comment below to be entered for the prizes, the wonderful prizes. Okay, so my question to you is, did you have or do you have a tradition that includes going sightseeing to see Christmas lights? Did you take your children to see Christmas lights? Do you take your children? Did you go as a child? As a child, I don't remember us having that as a tradition. We did go see Christmas lights. I loved it. It was one of my favorite things. We lived in a very small rural country town, and so, we lived in the country most of my life. But my grandparents lived in Tucson, Arizona, and one Christmas we got to go out there. We probably did more than one Christmas. I just remember this one particular Christmas, and I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and if my mom's watching, she can correct me on this, but we got to drive around Tucson on whatever night it was. In my mind, I think it was Christmas Eve, but we drove around and we looked at Christmas lights. And it was big city Christmas lights, and they were beautiful. And I was just in awe. They were just so beautiful. And in particular, I loved this. I can just remember this plain as day, that there was this house with big blue. All the lights were blue. They were solid blue, and they were those nice big blue Christmas lights. And when we got back to my grandparents' house, Santa had been there. I could not figure out how Santa knew that we were in Arizona for Christmas. So let me know in the comment below if you have or have had a tradition where you went and looked at Christmas lights. That is the question to answer in my video. And be sure to watch all the other videos and listen for their question and answer their questions so you can be in the drawing to win a wonderful prize. Okay, on to the next Joy to the World DIY. So I have these wood rounds. Painted this one black in the inside. I didn't get that on camera, but I just painted it with that black ink chalk. Now I made a decal using heat transfer vinyl on my Cricut. This was my very first time to ever use it on wood. And let me tell you, friends, I'm in love. Why I didn't do this sooner, I don't know. But it worked so beautiful. It just pressed it in there. I just kept rubbing it and feeling of it, and I just couldn't get over it. It did make it warm all the way through. So I need to be careful when I do that on my little rubber mat, because if you watched the video where I forgot that I was using my big press, and I pressed, can't even remember what I was making now, and I pressed it, and yeah, ruined my mat, melted it, because I'm blonde, and that's what I did. So I'm trying to be careful. This mat that I have here is just a portion of that mat, because I had to cut it up and get rid of the melted part. Anyway, just making a little hanger. I like for them to hang straight, and sometimes if you put the hanger just straight in there, they don't hang straight. And then sometimes I use just a regular ornament hanger in the twine, depending on, where it's going to hang, how it's going to hang. Anyway, I think this turned out super, super cute. Later on, you're going to see another ornament I made using this same type of ornament, and you'll see that I didn't paint it. So, okay, on to the next Joy to the World DIY. So I had these little red jingle bells from Dollar Tree, and they were not the right color red. They were too shiny. So I'm using, I believe this is lacquer by Waverly, and I'm going to dry it with my heat gun because I'm a little impatient, and the chalk paint dries really fast, especially when you put a little heat and air to it. And then I'm going to take this chocolate sprinkle by Apple Barrel and just dirty it up a little bit so that it looks a little aged, because I like that look. And here we go with another heat transfer vinyl decal. I am addicted to it now. I just love it. And I love this little joy. I've used it in previous videos as well. And this is a little mini cutting board. I got it Aldi. I got it in a pack of 4. And there was 2 small ones and 2 large ones. They had ovals, they had round ones, they had rectangular ones, they had square ones. And the original price, I think, was $4.49 or $4.99. And I got them on clearance. I think I might have paid full price for one, and when I went back to get more, they were on clearance for $2.99. That was a steal, so I bought a bunch of them. So you will probably be seeing a lot of them in my videos. So you can see what I'm doing here, that I'm just putting this all together. Making a little twine bow, get that little piece of greenery. They kind of remind me of chenille stems, or pipe cleaners, we called them growing up, but they have garland on them from Dollar Tree, and so I just cut a little piece of that off for that greenery, and I ended up tying a little knot in the middle of it to make it a little shorter, so I can put the jingle bells on. I'm going to glue them down, and then I'm going to glue that greenery on top, and then the twine bow on top of that, and it turns out really cute. And I don't know if you all are aware, but Joy to the World was written about the second coming of Christ, not the birth of Christ. So when I discovered that, I thought that was really interesting. So I looked into it a little bit more, and you can Google it and you can find out that information. The man, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, who wrote it, then some years later, another man put it to song. So that's just a little trivia for the song Joy to the World. Okay, so here's another one of those rounds. I got those on Amazon, and I sanded a little so it would be smooth, so my decal that I made on my Cricut would be smooth. It would fit on there smoothly. I'm lining this up with the hole on the ornament so that it'll hang straight, and just going to remove that. Now I have this torch paste. I always want to call it scorch paste for some reason. I have this torch paste that I purchased off of Amazon. I will try to remember to link it in the description box below. Did you see the little amount that I got on my little spatula, my little squeegee? And it was way too much. So it takes such a small amount. Now I'm going to peel this stencil off, and I'm going to let that paste dry, because it doesn't bleed as much if it's dry, which it doesn't seem like it would work if it were dry, but it does. I'm going to take my heat gun, and about 2 or 3 minutes of the heat on high, it's going to start burning. And you see me put that piece of cardboard under there because I did not want to melt my mat. And once it starts burning, it starts burning it faster. It takes a little while for it to get started, but yeah. And then, the longer you burn it, the darker it gets. So I didn't burn it too long because I didn't want it to get too dark. But I think this turned out fantastic. I believe that I did some DIY clear wax over the top of it. I'm not positive about that, but I'm pretty sure I did. So there is that finished product. Let me know what you think about this. Have you ever tried the torch paste? Okay, here's the last DIY for this video. This is just one of those little, I don't know if this is a wood plank from Dollar Tree. They have some similar to this, or I had picked up a while back some of these in a package at Ross, and they were very inexpensive. They ended up being about 60 cents a piece. So I used some Sawmill Gravy by Dixie Belle, one of my favorite paint colors, and I used the DIY dark wax over it, which I love those two, that combination together. I did Joy to the World with a decal and the iron-on method again. Like I'm telling you, I'm obsessed with that now that I've discovered it. Gonna drill some holes in the top for a hanger, and I just decided to show you how cute those little curls were because I'm a silly goose. And then I'm gonna take the DIY dark wax and give it a good coat on this spindle. This is one of those spindles that I have in my stash of 177 spindles, and actually I've shared a few of my spindles, so it's dwindling down. I probably still have about 130. So if you live in my area and you need a few spindles, just holler at your girl and I'll share. I got them for free, and I've been doing lots of DIYs with them. They're just fantastic. So I drilled some holes in the spindle. I'm putting some beads. You can just see what I'm doing here. It's not rocket science. I was going to use that taller piece as my hanger, and then I decided that it was too narrow. I didn't really like it. I didn't like how it was working, so I decided to pull that down, and I'll make my hanger a little bit differently. I'm going to do it the same way I did on the Rustic one in the beginning. Be sure that you check out the playlist and go and watch all the other creators in this collab. They are fantastic. I'm very honored to be a part of this collab. I've been watching some of these people in this collab, these creators in this collab, for a long time, and I feel very honored to be a part of it, to be creating with them. And some of them are new to me, and I'm so glad that I have met them because I've really enjoyed getting to know them and their channel. So please go and check out their channels, the playlist, and comment so that you can enter to win these great prizes. There are some great prizes. So you can see here that I'm just tying this up to make a hanger. I love this. I feel like it looks like one of those signs from like maybe the 1800s where they would put it outside their building to put the name of their business.
If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you watching this video. It really helps out my channel. And remember to be still and know that He is God.